We are going to be looking at those who fired to run for the top job of Cameroon at ELECAM. By midnight last night, we had above 80 candidacies deposited at the level of ELECAM. In fact, 82 persons in Cameroon have expressed their wish to run for this year's presidential election. We're going to wait for ELECAM as we speak to go through the files to tell us who qualifies and which files are going to be rejected. But our focus tonight has to do with whether the job of the presidency of Cameroon has been oversimplified. Are those who are running for this top job really genuine or simply showing off as political actors in Cameroon? We're going to be discussing on this topic with my panelists who are with me in the studio. I have Dr. Michael Dimancho, who is a core member of Cameroon Civil Society, also a lecturer with some universities in Cameroon. Good evening, Doctor. We're glad to have you.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Kum, and a pleasure that we are starting this new phase of election fever in our country. Of course, I've always talked about the beauty of politics, and this is a time that we're going to start witnessing that beauty, because the clock is ticking, the clouds are gathering, and I think that too the electorates too are anxious. They are filled with zeal, with zest, anxiety to see what the outcome is going to be, and we hope that the coming days and weeks and a few months to come, it is really going to be a period of awakeness, a period of reasserting what we stand for. And I would like to greet all Cameroonians who have registered, and it's unfortunate there's a Cameroonian who told me today, I now see that this year's election is going to be much more interesting, and I'm sorry I didn't register. Well, for those who registered, good luck, and I think that October, we are all together, one heart and spirit, to see what our country looks like. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Also with us tonight is one of those who expressed their wish to manage the affairs of Cameroon. Dr. Barrister Hassan Michael is in the studio with us. He was supposed to run as an independent candidate but could not fulfill the requirements and decided not to submit his file at ELECAM. Good evening, Barrister Dr. Hassan Michael. We're glad to have you.
Good evening, Mr. Kum. Good evening to all our viewers in Cameroon and the diaspora. Good evening to all my co-panelists. It's a pleasure being once more with you on your program, and certainly we are going to have the best as usual.
Prince Joel Mokage, a journalist, is also part of our tonight's edition of the program. Good evening, Prince. We're glad to have you.
Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and of course, good evening to all the co-panelists. Good evening to the million televiewers of my media Prime Television, most particularly those who are watching Prime Hour now. I'm sending greetings to the peace-loving people of Mr. J subdivision. A lot of them are watching. They did indicate that they'll be watching massively. I'm sending greetings to all of them, most particularly to the number one elite of that land, Professor Fukalisus Gentry, and Mayor Emeritus Nkenda Simon Sunday, who is watching the program, and of course to my father, His Royal Majesty Fon Thomas Kimbuse.
I'll start with you, Dr. Hassan, who was supposed to run for this election. So many persons, especially a huge following on social media, they were expecting counting minutes, counting seconds, hoping to see you go to ELECAM, deposit your file, and also grant interviews like the rest. But at the end of the day, you couldn't do so. Can you tell our televiewers why you did not stand or you did not apply to run for presidency?
Yeah, Mr. Com, I know all my followers, my sympathizers were actually shocked by midnight yesterday. And that was simply due to the fact that I didn't submit my candidacy file at the ELECAM office in Littoral. And of course, we were all waiting for a miracle because, as you know, Cameroon has been taken hostage by those who govern us. And automatically everything concerning administrative procedures have been rendered extremely difficult, and I might even say impossible. The problems which I faced while trying to follow or put in place the process or the procedures which were being set forth by ELECAM is simply because, first of all, when I decided to engage in this political journey, I chose the independent candidacy. And the independent candidacy amongst the two which we have today, and the other which is the candidacy through a political party, simply warrants that the independent candidate should provide 300 signatures from certain personalities. So according to Article 121 of the Electoral Code, it talks about senators, deputies, regional councillors, municipal councillors, first-class chiefs, and members of the chambers of trade and commerce. I had a lot of difficulties actually collecting the signatures, and that's simply because majority of those who could give the signatures were first of all from the ruling party, even though there were so many others from opposition parties that could give me. But I faced a lot of difficulties at the South region, because the South region is one of those regions where they say that is a foundation of the CPDM party. It's actually the region of origin of our acting president of the Republic, President Paul Biya. And so I realized that it was impossible for me to acquire the 300 signatures. So that was the first problem. Now, the second issue I faced was that notwithstanding the fact that I could not get the 300 signatures, there was a possibility that I could actually be a candidate through an endorsement by a political party that has an elected official. And there were so many political parties that had elected officials, and they were not interested in going in for the presidential elections. And I believe Mr. Prince, who is here with me, knows how we battled day and night to get in touch with them, and unfortunately they never granted me the endorsement. What was strange was that each time we went into a negotiation with one, it was very, very positive and promising, but just at the moment where the particular document was supposed to be issued came up, automatically they declined. They said they would not, they are no more interested, they found a different solution. So I felt like there was a machinery behind every action I was taking, knowing fully well that I think that by now, with the popularity I have on Facebook and on other media, certainly my line should be on record. So I think that played against me, because I will not understand why I will meet presidents of certain political parties that are not even interested to take part in the presidential elections, knowing my popularity and what I could bring to those parties. We were very positive at the start, and at the end of the day just changed their mind. So that was the second thing. The third thing was that while I was preparing my documents, amongst the documents you have your birth certificate that's to be legalized, you need to get your non-conviction, you need to get your certificate of nationality. So there was this, because I did those documents in Yaoundé, a prosecutor, a state counsel practically refused to sign and to deliver my certificate of nationality. So I really found this strange. Immediately she realized that I was going in for presidential elections. She said no, she's not going to do it any longer. And the last thing is that concerning my taxpayers documents, they only came this morning. So I had applied during the week, and for some reasons there were delays, and it is only this morning at 8 that I received it. So it therefore means that even if I was able to fulfill all the previous requirements, this taxpayers document would have prevented me from dropping my candidacy. So that's actually what happened. But for me, it's a good sign. It's a good sign in the sense that it shows that I have some sort of political influence, and that this regime is scared of a youth like me. So all I'm calling on other youths is that we need to stand up, take the courage, be bold, and say that we are also going to get involved. United, we put our forces together, we shall be able to make it. So there is no giving up, there is no turning back, because the goal of the regime is to discourage youths like us, youths that can encourage others to also move forward, think in like manner, and desire change. So I am not stepping back, and as from today and as from now, we are going to keep up with all our political activities while preparing for the next elections, be it presidential or legislative elections and municipal elections, which I know will be coming up very soon.
Okay. Dr. Michael Dumancho, you observed the period, the 10 days period where political actors were expected to deposit their files at the level of ELECAM. Your first impression after you saw that 82 persons had expressed their desires to run this nation?
Mr. Cook, my first impression is that of the presidency that is supposed to be feared, that is supposed to carry some aura, which is being looked upon as, some granules that every Dick and Tom wants to get from the market. I think that this gives an image of what people have come to see Cameroon to be. Because when you look at the kind of people who are scrambling to get to the presidential palace as the president of this country, Cameroon, you weep. Like Alan Patton, I would say, cry beloved country. Because I will not imagine that up to today, we have 82 candidates scrambling. And who are the candidates in the first place? People that perhaps throughout the past months, you have not heard about them. And people just think that they have to get into that presidential palace. This reveals a lot of things about the impression people have about the presidency of Cameroon. The impression most people hold now is, people think that the person who is there, okay, if he is not doing anything enough, or he is not worth, he is not having that charisma, that presidential aura that is supposed to hold, and therefore any other person can just introduce his document and become the president of Cameroon. But then I was not surprised, because during my time when I was doing the consultation with the opposition parties, I realized and I understood that this was going to happen. Because you saw people who are so selfish, egoistic, and anybody think that, it must be me. Many people have cried about the issue of a coalition. And this comes now in line with the cries of Cameroonian. The reticence which the opposition leaders heard and refused to come together in a coalition has given birth, or has shown what has happened in the last 10 days. And this scramble, of course, at the dying minute, gives room for us to understand that the political scene in Cameroon is not worth it, and that what we enjoy from other countries is not exactly what is in Cameroon. Because before a candidate submits his candidacy to the election governing body, at least Cameroonians are supposed to know about them. We are seeing a lot of figures that we are discovering now, just at the level of submitting documents to ELECAM. And then the question we are asking is, all this while, where were these people? Where were these political parties? The second thing I want to talk about is the issue of divide and rule. Because we very well know that most of these people who are submitting their documents know that they are not getting into the race. And in one of my write-ups, I talked about the types of opposition parties that we have in Cameroon. First, I talked about the parties of liberation theology. And I talked about the opposition of proposition. And I talked about the opposition of opposition. These were the three kinds of opposition parties that are dissected in Cameroon. We see all of them. We can see all of them scrambling to submit their document. But then, the opposition of liberation theory that we know and who have stood the test of time, people know them. Those who are going because they want to oppose or they want to create that dissension, they want to create that division among the opposition, we know them. Those who are going because they just want to remain in the game as opposition who propose to the government and they eat theirs in the G's, then and the G what, we know them. But then, it is a shame, I must say in a shame, in a country of about 30 million people, we were supposed to have two kinds of ideologies, the far right as they call and the left. But we see people who are coming from nowhere, from the traditional setting, from Jangi groups, and from all of those to come and submit their document. It is not reasonable. I must cry, and I already cried for Cameroon, and I say that the days ahead are already pregnant. If we are being still regarded as those, I can say they are infantilizing Cameroon. They are, Cameroon is being childish, and I must say that we must get serious. And we are watching now to see ELECAM in the scrutiny of the candidate. How are they going to scrutinize the candidate? Because when you look at a political party, about 6 of them, with parties presenting 2 candidates, you already know exactly what is happening. How can one party be presenting 2 candidates? And well, one good thing has happened is also the fact that we have seen independent candidates. Dr. Michael here talked about, he was coming as an independent candidate. And we are happy that we are welcoming independent candidates into this game. But then we want to see exactly what they stand to bring.
The big problem is he was supposed to stand in as an independent candidate. He could not secure the 300 signatures, maybe the 30 million francs CFA and other requirements. And he said that I am not qualified to run. When you look at these guys who have submitted, we don't know whether they have had 300 signatures or paid the 30 millions, and you have somebody who is even 31 years going in for this. Yes, and then you have very old persons whom we have never seen going up, and we know that actually for a political party to stand for these elections, you're supposed to have at least an elected official. But we have seen several of them submitting even without what does it tell of those who are going, knowing fully well that they do not meet the requirement.
Mr. Liu, when I looked at those who were streaming into ELECAM offices, I wept for my nation. I cried for Cameroon, like Doctor said. And you even have friends who are out there, when they send you messages, are like, Bossy the way country don't be. It's a shame. It doesn't, you have people who wear shoes that cannot be bought even for 1,000 francs, holding envelopes that when you look at the weight of the envelope, you can see that these people maybe only photocopied their birth certificates, their ID cards, and took to an ELECAM office. You have people who go to submit their documents, like the guy in the southwest, and when he gets to ELECAM, he notices that he has forgotten his national identity card. That is someone who wants to become president. You have people who want to be president in Cameroon who tell you that the government is owing them 50 million and that the government should deduct 30 million and reimburse them 20 million. It's a shame. You have people who are musicians who tell you that when they get their money from Sonacam, which is the association that protects the rights of artists, what they call droit d'auteur, that once they get their money, they are going to pay. Now, Mr. Liu, that aside, I think that what we just witnessed, first of all, talks about what I want to describe as administrative tolerance. There's a lot of administrative tolerance in Cameroon. Anybody, anywhere, thinks they can do what they want. If we were in a serious nation, Mr. Liu, I was discussing with someone and I told the person that if I were part of those who had the yam and the knife of this country, when you come like those I saw there, I will simply tell you that this is not the right ELECAM office. Come, let me show you the right one. We'll look for the nearest commissariat or the nearest gendarmerie post and we push you inside. Because it's a mockery. You don't make a mockery of 30 million Cameroonians. You don't make a mockery of a nation where I belong to. I think it's really a shame. And when you also look at it, Mr. Liu, you will also discover that amongst the 82 candidates who have filed in, I want to bet you, Mr. Liu, that not up to 10 have paid that 30 million francs CFA. Now up to 10 have paid. Because if you want to look at a kind of analysis, you don't want to do a kind of a facial analysis of some of the people that I saw at the ELECAM office, I want to bet you some of those people do not have a 10,000 francs kept somewhere in their name. I saw some of those fathers. You see someone with a funny pair of shoes. You see someone whose belt is not even up to 500 francs. You see people with a funny set of suit. Again, Mr. Liu, the ELECAM has made it very clean and clear. For you to run for presidential elections, one, you must be able to have an elected official, or you should be able to assemble 300 signatures, like Dr. Asson was saying. And these 300 signatures means that 30 must come from each region. And that's why when I was with him, I want to applaud him. There are people who are saying, no, he backed out his this. But when I looked at him, I saw in him someone who has an integrity to protect. Because he went to the south region where the president hails from. And the people told him the president is our brother, he's our father, he's our son. We cannot. Already means that even if he got from the other 9 regions, south is already a failure. So automatically you back out to protect your image. Mr. Lee, when you look at some of the political parties that have deposited, without calling names, when you look at Celestin Jammeh of APA, he got 300 signatures. We're not looking at the money.
No, maybe he deposited as under his party.
His party, but now the party does not have an elected official. That's what I'm saying. Okay, without calling names. Now, Mr. Lee, when you look at a majority of even those who went in as candidates under a political party, do these political parties have an elected official? No. Are these political parties, those that I know, those I saw streaming from one place to the other, do they have 300 signatures? It is a far-fetched dream. Can they, some of those I saw, even those who have political parties, can they boast of a 30 million francs CFA? Mr. Leo, I just feel that when I look at all the candidates, this is how I group them. One, I discovered that we had candidates who were seeking recognition. Some people just wanted to create a buzz. We are living in a world where some people just had to do that, and then they film them, they were all over social media. These are the candidates, and of course, he becomes a hero in his own quarter. Can these same people gather 5 people? They cannot. You also discover that there were people who are part of the presidential majority. They were just going into it with the fact that let us deposit, so that when the time comes, which is October 12th, we will have the 4 or 5 people who belong to our own party who just push to the head of state. And I also think that there are people who went into this election because they actually feel that they needed change, and that change can come within them. But now the $1 million question is, can they be good enough to do Cameroonians this favor by forming a coalition to form a single party? That said, Mr. Leo, I think that ELECAM has done its own part because they were just there to collect documents, which to me, I think that we need some reforms at the level of the ELECAM, at the level of our constitution, to tighten the conditions. So much so that if you came, for instance, Mr. Leo, and they opened your file and they just saw that you've not deposited the 30 million francs CFA, they tell you go home, whether you have an elected official or not. And Mr. Leo, what we saw is just a glaring example. When you want to write, for instance, ENS, first cycle, they'll tell you, for you to sit for ENS, you need to have at least English ordinary level. You must have English ordinary level, and advanced level, you must have 2 papers excluding religion. Which means that when you go and sit in for that exam, knowing fully whether you do not have ordinary level English, and knowing fully whether you do not have 2 papers, advanced level excluding religion, who are you deceiving? We know that most of these people were making a mockery of our nation, and I think that it's time that our laws are stiffened so that in next elections, Mr. Liu, we should be able to have responsible people. You cannot have people who go and deposit documents when they hire the taxi. I saw a guy with bushes on his face, and when I did my investigations, I discovered that this is someone who had boarded a bike, an Okada from the quarter, to go deposit documents and had an accident on the road, but still went with a funny tie that's not up to 500 francs. It's really a shame. And I think that the electoral board has started work today, and a lot of them, we already know that. I know, Mr. Liu, I wrote on my Facebook page, I know that at the end of the day, we will not have, out of these 82 candidates, I don't see 9 people going in for the presidential elections.
Okay, you don't see 9 people going in. are we not also facing this because those of you who wanted to run failed to concert amongst yourselves? Because if you came together and saw the need, so many Cameroonians said we needed a unified bloc to go for elections. Everybody thinks that they want to become presidents. Can you people effectively beat the system in dispersed ranks?
I strongly believe that the problem we have here is not just coming together.
Okay.
But it's about having the same ideologies, because I think that that's where the problem lies. We have political parties with different ideologies, certain with capitalist ideologies, others with socialist ideologies, others with liberalist ideologies, and for somebody like me, I have a communist ideology. That is fostered at putting an end to the colonial system which exists. Unfortunately, what we have today are political parties that are just engaged in getting Biya out of power. And it makes things very difficult, because when political parties have diverging views and ideologies, the coming together is difficult. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there is this hunger for power. You know, our president has been in power for over 43 years. And due to that, I think that there is some sort of political trauma which most Cameroonians have, and that's why you see everybody is interested in being president of the republic. Everybody is rushing to drop his documents at ELECAM, even if they know fairly well that those documents are not complete. So I think that due to that, everybody wants to be the president of the republic, and it becomes very, very difficult. And you have some political parties who are like, if we are forming a coalition, then it must be this particular person who has to head the coalition or to lead the coalition. It becomes another problem. I think in 2018 a coalition was supposed to be formed, and a proposal was made by one of the politicians that an election should take place where you have political leaders stand and the people vote for them, so that they'll know the particular individual or political actor that is going to lead the coalition. But unfortunately, certain political leaders see themselves as people who are greater than others, and it becomes complicated, because in a fair and free democratic process, it must go through a vote, which some of them are rejecting. And other things like tribalism, other things like related to friendship, are the things that hold our whole political system hostage. And I think the last thing is that you're going to realize that most political parties, in quotes, that call themselves opposition are not opposition. They, in one way or the other, are linked to the ruling party. Like, for example, I give you an example of the few political parties I approached for them to endorse me as a candidate, and in quotes, they carry the title of opposition, but yet they could not endorse me, even though they did not want to take part in the presidential election. So we have situations like that where I can even say 90% or 95% of the political parties that call themselves opposition are with the ruling party. So it creates that order, disorder.
At this level, should we really look at this one is purely leftist, right, center, and differing you say differing ideologies, yes. Yeah. But at this juncture, should we not be looking at salvaging the situation? Because if we have to look at every party going according to its party policies, nobody is going to take power, which means the CPDM may remain there forever. I wish to remind our televiewers that the PDP in Nigeria was in power for so long, until the Buharis and so many of them had to merge to create the APC 2 years before they could take PDP out of power. Look at what is happening already. We have Obi and other very big way.
Yeah, sure.
They are coming together, which means that they are not looking at their respective ideologies. Their issue is to salvage the situation of Nigeria.
Now, you know, it's quite complicated because Cameroon, it's a country on its own.
It's
You
a
know,
continent.
it's a continent, as you can say, where everybody is a president. And in 43 years, that's something we have only seen in one other African country, which is Equatorial Guinea, I think, where a leader has been in power for 43 years and has been in the government for over 50, 60 years. So you realize that it's the same system, because the party which Aijo had, I think, which was the CNU, yes, the UNC, or CNU, thank you, I was saying it in French, is the same party that actually formed the CPDM today. So we cannot compare the two countries in Nigeria, and we cannot compare Nigeria and Cameroon in terms of political philosophy, political ideologies, because they are quite different. And you know, we actually adopted, for let's say 80% of Cameroon, or the French-speaking Cameroon, we adopted the French colonial system. You know, the French colonial system is more of assimilation, and that is what is being reflected in everything that is done. So everything that is done, a political party that exists does its best to assimilate the others. Whereas in the common law system, which was also practiced in Nigeria, was that of indirect rule. So they let the people express themselves. So the political systems in the two countries are quite different. Now, this is what I would like to add. Due to the fact that in Cameroon it's very difficult to have, and that's why I listed all of those different issues, because they all are intertwined. They all work together to create what we have today. And that is the reason why I did not, from the very start, chose the candidacy through a political party. I actually chose the independent candidacy, because I strongly believe that only an independent candidate will be able to bring everybody together. You know, in the 2018 elections, we had 3 million Cameroonians who did not vote. Opposition as a whole, even with the CPDM, allied parties and the rest, just had 1 million votes. So it therefore means that even if a coalition is being formed now, or it was even formed in 2018, they would have not still been able to win the CPDM. Now the question we are asking ourselves is, why did 3 million Cameroonians not take part in the presidential elections? And that's what we are supposed to resolve. So I think that if the coalition is formed in a manner where they can propose a candidate that's very neutral, a candidate that does not have anything to do with the government, then I think things will work. But unfortunately, today on the political scene, we have no political actor, no main political actor that does not have ties with the government. And at the end of the day, it becomes very, very difficult.
Are you not discouraging those who have intention to vote?
No. I'm not discouraging.
I'm
not discouraging. I'm just saying the truth. I'm just saying the truth, because I'm trying to understand why Cameroonians are not engaged. Why did the 3 million Cameroonians not take part in the elections? And it's only when we understand why they didn't, then we shall be able to convince them.
So you believe if you went for these elections, the 3 million, everybody will go and vote?
It's a possibility.
Okay. Now, is this a clear proof that opposition guys, they have refused to listen to the people? Because the people for the past 3 years says we want a solid coalition, but we have 81 persons or 82 persons who would have had maybe 100 if many more persons could have fulfilled the requirements, which means that they say whatever the population is saying, it is none of our business. We have to impose what we think to them.
Now you see now the selfishness of politics in Cameroon. This is an insult to the electorate. That electorate cries and says, this is what we want. Because the electorate is like the headmaster, and it tells you that this is what I want you to do. And then the pupil gets up and tells the headmaster, I am not going to do that. Rather, I am going to, if I was doing one wrong, I will do two. This is what has happened in this election. Because this is the first time that we are having this number of candidates. And just at the time when
we have calls for coalition every day.
Yes, and just at the moment where those cries have echoed even more further is when people get up and they multiply the number to go in dispersed ranks. Isn't that an insult? It is an insult, just to let you know that people have let me call Machiavellian intentions in going into the presidency. They do not go to serve the interests of the population. People are going for their own selfish purposes. And why then will you accuse Frank Bayard in his La Politique du Ventre, l'État en Afrique? It is a clear proof that we are going. I mean, look at Dr. Asong talked about the 3 million that has not been voting. And your question answers him, because when we cry, as we did this past year, 7 years, and we say to the electorate, we are giving you a promise. And the promise we are giving you is that there is going to be a coalition. This is the message we took to the ground. This is the message we took to the electorate. And now the vote, the registration skyrocketed. We struck about 8 million or more than. Exactly. It is because of the promises that we gave the electorate. You know
that there is a hope.
There is a hope that there will be a coalition. And now, if tomorrow, with a refusal of a coalition, if tomorrow, out of the 8 million, just 3 million go to vote, you would then understand, because there will be an answered question which you just asked, that we should find out to know why they have not been voting.
The people want a coalition.
They want a coalition, you refuse. And now the people now say, we are not going to vote any longer. Because what we wanted, you refuse to give us. These are just simple answers and simple truth about the whole issue. And you see, this issue, I think that Cameroon needs, we need to take Cameroon into a surgical room. No, really, it is a problem. Yes, surgical center, and actually explain and say that this is actually, Cameroon has a problem. And you see, we have candidates who are coming up today. There are two kinds of things that I would really want to look at. There are candidates with a theology who come and preach their theology, and they want to sleep on their theology. And Cameroon has lacked real candidates and opposition parties with an ideology. You see, theologies die. They die very fast. The theology that we have in the 1990s has died because it's too ephemeral. But ideologies are perennial. Ideologies go above times. And that is why when you are not able to sustain an ideology, people easily get weakened. Ask yourself, where is that poem? Where is that fanfare that went with elections, that went with political activism in Cameroon during the 1990s, getting to the 2000s? This is what is happening. Now, it is because, look at even in 1992, where there was a coalition in 1992. Right from the beginning of democracy in Cameroon, there was an interest for people to come together and savage Cameroon, where people thought we were coming from a very, very bitter past of dictatorship. And now that the dictatorship has even deepened, and we are even crying now more than we did in the 1990s. And again, you have parties that are multiplying themselves to get there. I want to make a reading about this issue. Either these numerous parties that have, individuals, let me not say parties, because this is an issue of individuals. Either these 82 people want to insult Cameroon, want to mock at Cameroon, or secondly, they are rubbishing the system in Cameroon. Because if you know about what the electoral code says, and you insistently, or you want to play a conquistador, you go again, knowing that you do not qualify. Most of them know that they do not qualify. Because when you look at the candidate, you want to screen them. At least we know, we have read the basic principles of the law. And these candidates, do you want to say they are ignorant? This is one question I should be asking. If they are ignorant about what the law says about candidacies, then there is a problem. There is a problem. Because you see candidates who you know really fully well that they are against, they do not qualify. Even you went for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th point. They do not even qualify in 2. But they go to put their document. Then there is a problem. Secondly, you will show that the law or that the system in Cameroon is too lackadaisical. That there is, that rigor is not there. And that anybody thinks that you can just do anything and go away with. We are talking about the life of a nation here. We are talking about the presidential election, which of course, it is supposed to be one of the elections that people regard in the high esteem. But then, when people take and then they play ping pong with, then this cause for concern. And that already in October, we should begin to see what is going to happen. And as I said in my last discourse, we are watching to see what ELECAM is going to do. But one thing is very, very important that I have noticed. with the candidates. That for the first time, of course, the ruling party has 2 candidates. But now the question is, how is ELECAM going to be able to ascertain this and to be able to draw a line? Are they going to put it on the scale and strike, or the eye is going to be cheated to one side? This is one of the things. And as I say, it is good. Yes, people will say this democracy, that you just allow people to express themselves and everybody wants to go for election, can go and put his document. But then democracy also has some limits. You know, you are only democratic under the law. You cannot say you practice democracy if there's no law. Because if you are free, you are only free under the law.
They say democracy is not anarchy.
It's not anarchy. That is the thing. And you don't just get up in the morning and then you say because you are free, you are in a democratic country, and then you go and break the same law that seems to protect you. So the issue of the numerous candidates that have come up this year, a lot of people have been talking about it, and a lot have been expressing real grief about what is happening. And with the cause of the electorate, I do not want to say as a civil society that this may discourage people. I really want to say that people should just be calm. First, we listen to ELECAM. And when ELECAM speaks, of course, we know those parties that we can go over. And we know parties that have proposed their manifesto that we are supposed to look at. Because there's one of these things that we forget. Party politics in Cameroon have become too tribalistic, that sometimes we lose sight of what we are supposed to do. We forget to see that this person actually has, even though people say to have a manifesto is one thing and to actually implement it is another. But at least one of the things that we can see outwardly and believe it is somebody's manifesto. Because you do not know, we are not God to see what somebody thinks internally, and that when you get to power, what do you do? But then there is a first index, there is a first sign, there is a first information that we get from the own side outwardly, and it is that manifesto that tells us that this is who this person is. If the person goes there and changes, that is fine. And that is why I am saying that we have hardliners. We have hardliners who are political parties that we have to watch out for.
There is another issue. I'll try to talk about this principle of voters' intelligence. You know, in Cameroon, we have voters who actually follow political parties based on certain reasons: tribalism, friendship, nepotism, and all the rest. Our constitution is very clear in its Article 2. Sovereignty belongs to the people. So the people must first of all know that power lies in their hands. You see, there is this thing where the voter does not want to be accountable for his own acts, where the voter wants to transfer his or her responsibility to the political leader. And I believe that is supposed to be vice versa. So I believe that voters are supposed to know what they want. Because in Cameroon, what the voters are struggling to do is that their responsibilities and their obligations, they are transferring it to the political leader so that the political leader should tell them what to do. But they must be conscious that in democracy, they are expressing their right to choose. And this right to choose is not as a people in general, but it also goes as an individual taking his or her own choice. So I believe that if voters are intelligent enough, are smart enough to know what they want, and they have the same mindset, it will be easier for them to sit down and say that we are going to vote this person, we are going to vote this particular person for presidency in Cameroon. So that is what I strongly believe, and I think that is what the voters should be doing now. Because if the political leaders have refused to form a coalition, that does not mean that they have to be discouraged. They must know that the power still lies in their hands and not in the hands of political leaders. Take the right decision, go for one candidate and vote that candidate.
Now, you have gone through some of these guys who have deposited their files to run for presidency in Cameroon. Do you have the impression that they have sat down to take a clear measure of what it takes to manage Cameroon?
But for, say,
looking at their track record, what they have been able to do in the past year.
Mr. Leo, bet for the old candidates, that is those who are already there in 2018. If I go through those who are there now, what they are proposing to Cameroonians, some are proposing, you know, Mr. Leo, talk is very cheap. Okay, talk is very cheap, because I went through some candidates someone will tell you, for instance, that he will bring back the federal system. Cameroon is going to have 2 stars on the flag, with the federation of other 10 states and things like that. Some of these things are not really feasible, Mr. Liu. We should be honest. And the younger ones who are coming up, you know, politics, it's not a game, like someone said. It's not a game for any person. Politics is that kind of a game that, first of all, you need to do a self-assessment of yourself. All of us are coming from communities. Mr. Asong here comes from a community. It means that within your community, what you're telling that you do to 30 million Cameroonians, you should have already started doing it within your small community or even within your small quarter. But now, if you want to become a presidential candidate, and maybe even within your quarter, you drop something, say, on social media, and you're unable to have 10 likes, 5 comments, there's a problem. Because at least even those in your quarter should first of all follow you, even on social media platform. And now, if you look at other candidates who are also young, because there are other ones who are clowns that I don't want to look at them, because I know that more than 60 of them will be sent home. But now if you look at those who have remained, far from the old brooms, like I was saying, the new ones, what are they actually promising Cameroonians? The same old story. Because what they are saying, a majority of them have just picked 1 or 2 things from what all candidates have been saying. Osi has said this, Kabay used to say this, Kamto has said this, Pobia has said this. And they go now inside and pick 1 or 2 things and want to amend and present to Cameroonians. But I want to bet you, Mr. Liu, that Cameroon has gone to a level where Cameroonians are no longer stupid. Go even to a small quarter, sit even in a restaurant or in a cyber cafe and just raise about presidential elections, and you'll be shocked that even the person you're thinking did not have even a first school leaving certificate already knows that Cameroon is going through difficult moments, knows that Cameroon needs change, and the person already has a leader in their head. But now when you want to look at the idea that these people have and compare with those who are there, I'm saying far from the old brooms. If you look at the newcomers, what are they actually proposing? Because it is not only about saying that you're young. It's, of course, Dr. Alson was coming up with an idea as a young person, and someone just said, okay, because you're young, we think that. But now many a times, Cameroonians want to look beyond the age. It's true that the age factor plays a key role, but Cameroonians want to come beyond the age, and they are like, what can you actually offer? Because, Mr. Liu, you cannot give what you don't have.
Okay.
You only give what you have.
You can only give what you have. So many reactions are coming in there. I hope we're going to have time to read. But there is this observation by the national president of the Patriotic and Republican Alliance, APA, a declared candidate for the presidential election, who actually has expressed his indignation at the number of persons who have sent in your file. I want to read it and then you react to it. He says that politics deserves a certain degree of respectability and a sense of responsibility. Politics is not a circus act. It is not a passing fad where just anyone shows up with an outburst and declares themselves a candidate for the highest office in the land. Let's be serious. The fact that 84 people have declared their candidacy is not the most scandalous part. What is unacceptable is that fewer than 20 out of the 84 possess the basic political knowledge required to understand, let alone lead a great people like Cameroon, the Cameroonian nation. Cameroon is not Monaco, nor Panama, nor the Bahamas, nor Equatorial Guinea. We cannot accept that mechanics, cobblers, or farmers, even though they are extremely valuable to society, should claim the ability to lead such a complex country. Being a good citizen with full rights and responsibilities does not necessarily mean one is competent to lead a nation. Everyone has their role to play for harmonious coexistence. The guitarist or cellist should not imitate the saxophonist. even though all three are vital to producing beautiful music for everyone to enjoy. Politics is not a playground for the depressed or anarchists of all kinds. It is a sacred, it is a calling and a sacred duty under the guidance of the people and the blessings of the Almighty. You cannot walk out of a field or garage at 4 p.m. and claim to lead a country like Cameroon without understanding a single political concept, without knowing the basics of economics and the intricacies of political life. That is why I propose that starting from 2032, presidential elections, any candidates in Cameroon must demonstrate their political track record in service to the public. You raised some of them already, but he says first have been elected at the local or national level. 2, prove at least 5 years of activism in a recognized political party that has already participated in local or national elections. 3, have visible, undisguised public presence on the national political scene or even internationally if coming from the civil society. ELECAM deserves better and Cameroon deserves even more. Your reaction to this?
Well, what I would like to say is what he's saying is true. But I think there are some exceptions.
Okay.
Because our founding fathers had a reason why in the Constitution of Cameroon it is mentioned that those who want to actively govern this country must have at least 35 years. And they mention other criteria like having been on the territory for 1 year, also being able to speak English or French, and I think that those were the basic requirements. And it's true that what is happening today on our political scene is just the mess up that has been caused by the regime. Before, people used to take all of these things very serious, and of people who thought that they did not have or fulfill the criteria did not actually stand for any position, maybe concerning councils, legislative, municipal, or presidential. But today, due to the fact that there has been a laissez-faire, today due to the fact that we have a regime that has permitted everything and anything, people just feel that they can do whatever. And somehow, the only way to resolve this is to build a framework that is going to protect. But meanwhile, we are also going to realize that if we build this type of framework, it's going to eliminate certain people. For example, we have Cabral Ibi, who is doing well today. So if we had to apply those criteria, which the person in question who wrote that, if we had to apply it, certainly he wouldn't have.
No, he says if you are coming from the civil society, which means that if you are not belonging to a political party, at least
it should be some activities.
They should have seen you
on the
actively
doing something for the Cameroonian people.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that yes, but then democracy should not be something which is too restrictive. That is what I think, because we have leaders today who fulfill all those criteria and who are a mess.
Yeah, but if there is no restriction, we may end up with 1,000 applications.
No. It's just
because almost everybody will say, I have the capacity to run for presidency.
No, when we have a serious society, when there is good governance, our educative systems are well structured and organized. People have their basic necessities. You will see that they will not even be eager for those things. You realize that I for one, the experience I had was that most people who met me were like, I'm going to be your minister, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. You see, people who don't even have let's say what it takes to be a minister, they want to be a minister. And the reason is simple. The reason is because a minister rides in big cars, he has allowances and all those things, and that's what people want to enjoy. So now if you put a system like I was planning to put in place, a communist system where I will break down that gap between the rich and the poor,
there will be no need to envy a minister, because a minister will even be working so much that you will not want to be in the place of a minister. He will not have those advantages which you think he has and left around. And I think that that's the only way we can organize our country. And if we are able to do that, then certainly things will be different. People will think differently, and we'll have a better political environment.
You wanted to react to that?
I wanted to say, Mr. Liu, that I think that Dr. Asong, that Cameroon, every country is governed by rules. Even within our homes where we come from, there are rules that govern us. If you tell your children once it's 6 p.m. I want you home, and the child comes at 6:30, there's a problem. Now I think that we should not think, if we look at what just happened within ELECAM, like I said before, it's a shame, it's a slap on our faces, and it's time that ELECAM restructured. Because if we had something, I gave you a very clean example, Mr. Liu. Take the case, for instance, of the University of Buea. The University of Buea will tell you that, will tell students that for you to gain admission into this university, you must have ordinary level English. It tells you already within you that if you do not have ordinary level English, then you should understand that Cameroon has 11 state universities. Start looking for the other 10 where you will go to. Means UB is not your place. It's the same in other universities. Now, if we do not tighten laws, because when you have people who just throw into ELECAM offices as though, like the person who wrote there, someone leaves. Celestin Jamin. Okay. Now you have people who leave mechanic workshops straight into ELECAM offices to deposit. Mr. Liu, I think that we need hard laws in this country. Hard laws that will, first of all, I think that if we had a situation where people even respected, I think it's Article 94, or where something says that you must declare what you have as income. We need to get to a level, Mr. Liu, where if you want to run as a presidential candidate, let us know what you have as income. What do you have? Because
Article 66?
You don't just get up and want to rule a nation, Mr. Liu. Some of the people I saw who wanted to be presidential candidates on a very good day cannot be quarterheads. They cannot even be presidents in their own normal local jangi houses. You do not treat a nation of Samuel Etofis, Roger Mila, Manu Dibango, may so rest in peace, Francois Mbango. These are the international names, because someone in Brazil, in Israel, in America, in Canada is looking at Cameroon. You say Cameroon, c'est quel pays? C'est le pays de Roger Mila. Ah bon? Donc le monsieur, si vous voulez être président, it is not you, it is us. It's just like if you're sending someone here, Mr. Liu, for a report, even as a cameraman or as a reporter, you ensure that even the dressing that the person is taking out to go for that coverage is reputable of the house. Because when you go out and you're somehow, they'll say, c'est le journaliste de ma media pamla. Non, c'est la chaîne, c'est comme ça la chaîne. So we should be able to have laws that tighten this situation. Because when they leave everything that ELECAM should just collect, and the electoral board is too much work, and during all this work, money is being spent. They would have just joined the electoral board and the ELECAM at once. Sit at once. As you come with your file, they just open. My man, you never pay a 30 million, go outside. They just tear the thing and throw. Stop disturbing people. You understand? When you look someone who is already in prison, like the guy who is in prison, is still in Kondegi, but has filed, and his name is amongst the second. But now, Mr. Liu, the law is clear that for you to run as a presidential candidate, you must have a certificate of non-conviction. Someone who does not even need to give it is already in prison, wants to be president. A young guy, the law says for you to be president, you need to be 35 and plus. A young guy who is less than 35. What are we turning this nation into?
Your reaction to what Celestin Jamin just raised?
Yes, I think that I agree for the most part of what he said, and I already want to add a few things to that. Because everything, we cannot live in a society where we think it's like a banana republic. I said that democracy is about rules also that we follow. You are only free under the law, and that anything that you do without putting speed breaks or putting laws that govern it never works. I will go further by saying that every presidential candidate is supposed to go through a kind of a litmus test, a kind of a judgment, and that judgment should go from economic, social, moral. It's very important that we know who a candidate is. When I say economic, it means you don't get into politics to get rich. And that is the misunderstanding that we have. People think that you get into politics in order to get rich. And that is why, that's what inspired the Article 66, the Declaration of Assets. That's what inspired it. And in most countries, that is very, very important. You declare your assets, and you take on political function, and when you are living, you have to go through the same process. This is what I brought in, and this is what I've gotten as I'm going out. It is very important. And I talked about the social judgment. It means that what? This person coming in, you see somebody who cannot even govern a home, who has married, divorced, married, and has scandals of marriages, scandals of children, or whatsoever. We cannot run a family, and then he wants to be the president of Cameroonians. What are you taking us for? And now I've talked about the issue of moral rectitude. It is not, you find people, I've even seen some musicians on the list who have had some past experiences, and we have seen them promote obscenities, promote values that are not ours. And then you have to take those candidates. There's a law in Cameroon, a law of homosexuality is not accepted in Cameroon, right? But in the penal code, right? But we have to judge people like that. People have to go through moral scrutiny. And we see that this person coming in as a candidate, we can be for sure say that this person is morally upright. I think that these are some of the basic things, and I think what Mr. Njamin has written, it makes some sense. But it's just that sometimes we who speak, like the Bible says, we don't remove the peck in our eyes before removing the dust.
But I'm sure he may not have fulfilled all the stuff, but if the laws were put in check, he himself would not have found himself,
and we are happy. That's what I'm saying. That he himself, you don't sit dirty, and then you want to think that other people have to respect. Everything is by example. I think that people should do things by example. Means that there are candidates who have gone there just to show that they exist as opposition leaders. No, it's just to show exactly they are on the political, and that people should not look at them and mock at them tomorrow that they didn't do anything. I think that those who even didn't go because they felt that it was not right for them to go, those people are heroes. And then those who come and waste people's time. Imagine the time that ELECAM is going to waste, even if it is 1 minute. Taking and putting that document in the dustbin, it is already something time wasted, and it is something that people are going to be paid them for because they come and sit down to judge. Whereas if we had few candidates who know that they are qualified, and of course they are proving they are documented, they are qualified, it will give us lesser work to do. So the issue of principles is very, very important in a nation. We are given impression that Cameroon is a kind of a nation where anything is accepted, and we have in this country is respected for intelligence. Cameroon has a high rate of intelligence. Cameroonians are educated, and internationally they are respected. And then when you come with issues like this, that the whole world is watching, international medias are covering, and then we come and then we project this kind of an image and to think that Cameroon because they see that the person who is there, because that's another judgment. That because the person there will say we have a president who don't see, and then he hardly addresses the people, and that is absent, and then everybody sees that it is empty, that the house is empty, and therefore anybody can just get in there, and that Cameroonians do not even know that they are right. They do not demand for what they want, because one of the things is also the education of the electorate. Electorate do not know they are right. When I come to my locality and I tell the people that I'm going to tar the road from Nko to Oku, as maybe as a parliamentarian. Is it my competence to tar the route? There's what we call route national. That you know that those routes are not the competence of a councillor or the competence of a mayor or a parliamentarian. It shows that, and then the population falls for it. It shows that the population itself is not educated. This also why we blame the political parties leaders. We also have to blame the population. Don't be pulled by the nose. Don't follow the crowd. We need to be informed. We need to be educated. And therefore, in October, people are going to vote. Not just because they have heard about anything, but because they know the face of this person. Mr. Song, when most of his family members will not even think about what he proposed as an agenda. They will vote him because he comes from his family. And this is what is happening. We do not know that in the same house, when it concerns politics, two brothers can disagree. It is very, very important for us. Politics is not Christianity. Politics is not religion. Politics is about knowing about the social life and defending it as it is supposed to be, because it concerns the whole nation.
Okay, Kilo Kennedy is watching from Suzatonjo Karin is watching from Douala, Enotawa, watching from Bambili. Renim for Israel watching from Kumba Komgang, Usman Sali from Muyuka, Lawrence and Dongibi watching from Boya. Fona Boris from Suza, Tafre Kingsley Official is writing from Balinyonga. Kimen Kenneth is watching from Bangante. Banke Ken is watching from Yaoundé. Issa Salem Adamu. Okay. Bertrand Mbu is watching from Bamenda. Giret Ma is watching from Bamenda Upstation. Damasco is watching from Morocco. Nzisi is watching us from Mundemba. Chance Kibi Bright always watching us from Kumba. Agbo Daniel is watching from Kendem Village. Kendem is before Mamfe. Brian James, mile 16. He says the Asongai should be okay. He should calm down. Josh Bison says, good evening, Mr. Liu, and to your co-panelists in the house. Watching from Tinto. Eric Fon is watching from Boya. Ayuketa Tabi is watching from the town of legendary hospitality, that is Boya. Bu Mami is watching from Boya Boli Famba, that's my 16. And Same Evans is watching us from Ngong Garwa. And Chitu Fidelis from Boya. Asachop Chopazem Cornelius is watching us from Limbe. Kwekwi Didi is watching us from Kambe. Ndi Ngalame is watching from Boya. Now TNS is watching from Japuma Duwala. We're going to take Honorable Namukong also tell us what his thoughts are with respect to this. Just to know that the Social Democratic Front President, National Chairman OC, deposited his file in Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital. In passing, we are sending special greetings to UB Rose of the Rainbow Cooperative Credit Union operating out there in the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda. Let's take a listen to Honorable Namukong.
Just like greetings, sir, and to say my media prime television in the Northwest region, which is actually a focal point when it comes to the democratization process of this county, tonight on Prime Hour Live, talking to you, sir. You are one of the big wings of a political party, not to like directly prescribe where you are, but to say our focus tonight is talking about 81 plus candidates for presidential at ELECAM. We just want to find how genuine are these candidates, and or is it a political show?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. We become very, very embarrassed that we can have a plethora of presidential aspirants, over 80 in number, standing for elections. Sometimes we look at Cameroon to be a kind of country, because first, Cameroon is talking about 365 political parties, and this is the first of its kind that we are having over 80 aspirants. And from the powers that be, you know, we are living in a country where the present regime have taken people hostage. The people are not able to do what they can do. And you know, with this election coming up and with their thinking that it should be the CPDM and no other but the CPDM, I believe that they are the ones who have sponsored many of those aspirants who have decided to send in their candidacy to stand for elections. Because the corrupt system of the nation will let us know that any right-thinking Cameroonian will not vote anybody above 92 years to stand for an election to manage and rule a country like Cameroon. And if we have a regime that is standing tall to allow this happen, they know that when they bring in more political parties, they will set confusion amongst the leaders who will be standing election, especially those who are sincere, calling on all to form a coalition. Our political party is not against coalition. We are just waiting for the right time. A coalition is the best that we can use to win over the present regime. Let's not divide our votes. Let's work as a team. Our aim is change. And our change will come with the SDF and other political parties that have the ideology of federalism. SDF is for federalism, and people will be able to understand and budget within their regions and develop their regions. I want to assure you that when SDF takes over, things will never be the same again.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Charles Kibwa, and to you, Honorable Namuko, for also lending a voice to our topic for tonight, which has to do with the ongoing political climate and activities by independent candidates as well as parties. But now, I don't know, you are the one who just spoke, right? Yes, to you. We also noticed so many parties depositing more than 2-3 candidates. Can we also understand, does it actually depict how divided we are? It's true that we want a coalition of political parties, but even within the system, the political parties themselves, we saw Manidem depositing 2 files from 2 individuals. We saw the UPC with 3 persons depositing. We saw Univer with 2 persons depositing. Yes, there's somebody who deposited for Univer and a host of others.
It tells you that those who are depositing don't have the interest of Cameroonians at heart. It is something of egoism. It is self. It is self, because if within a political party, those within the political party cannot agree, then there's a problem. There's a problem because let's look at some of the political parties that have sent dual candidates. One, you have the CPDM. President Paul Biya handed via the Secretary General of the party, Jean Kwete, accompanied by the Director General, the Director of the Civil Cabinet at the Presidency of the Republic, Samuel Mvondo Ayolo, deposit for the CPDM. You now have a councillor, not a mayor, not a minister, not a parliamentarian, not a senator. Within that same party, Leon Taylor, who takes his own documents to deposit. Mr. Liu, when you look at it, first of all, it is true some will misunderstand what I want to say. But the truth is, within that political party, I want to take the parties one after the other. When you look at within the CPDM political party, the party normally, from what I've gotten from those who are close to the party, they'll tell you that President Paul Biya is the natural candidate of that party. And now, though the person who went and deposited the document of the candidate of that party is the Secretary General of that party, who is one of those who are the strongest within the party. Because within the CPDM, after the chairman, who is President Paul Biya, is the Secretary General, who is Jean Kwete. Now, it is the same Jean Kwete who takes the file of the chairman of his party to go deposit. We saw the same with the UNDP political party, because the person who deposited for UNDP was Honorable Flambeau Ngayap, who deposited on behalf of Bello Buba Magar. He's the Secretary General. Now you have a councillor, because people just like, I don't know why at times people just want to be on newspaper headlines or what people, I don't understand. Because you're a councillor within the party. This same person had taken the chairman or the CPDM to court. And the judge in question said he did not have the powers to judge such a case. The case was thrown out of court. But now, to come out of newspaper headlines, he goes to deposit. I think within that one, Mr. Liu, and those who are watching, at the end of the day, Paul Biya will succeed within that party, and one person will leave, who will be Leon Taylor. You come on to Parti Univers. Parti Univers of Professor Mukuvondo is the same party that endorsed Cabral Libi in 2018. Now, Parti Univers has two candidates, as from what I'm seeing. There is a Keremuna, Batonia Keremuna, and another candidate. As we speak, Professor Mukuvondo is on a nationwide tour, an international tour with Akeremuna. And someone sits in Cameroon and goes to deposit for someone's party. I don't know whether people sumuk or what is disturbing Cameroonians, because Mukuvondo is in the US. He's in the tour. Akeremuna just came back. Now, Mr. Liu, he is there because we should be saying that this is the same political party that endorsed Cabral Libi, and it went with no issue. The person is with the person he has chosen. They are doing a tour and he's saying, this is the one I've chosen. While in Cameroon, you go and deposit. At the end of the day, within Univers, it is Akeremuna who will succeed. You come down to the UPC. There's a problem within the UPC because there are three of them. You have Abdulrahman, who is, I know him as a coach, I know him as a football, I know him as somebody who's into football. I did not know that he's a politician.
He is a candidate for a faction.
Okay, now
they
Mr.
say that
Leo,
they recognize faction.
Yeah, Mr. Leo, within the UPC, it's true that the UPC has a lot of factions. But if one were to go by Minat, the Minister of Territorial Administration, the recognized faction of the UPC is that of Honorable Bapo Lipot. And we saw Honorable Bapo Lipot being received by the Secretary General of the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, where he said, we have given to Paul Biya. So it means that within the UPC it will be difficult to determine.
We have seen Honorable Bapo Lipot received by the Secretary General, Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency. We've seen him received
the Prime
by
Minister,
the Prime Minister.
Where he even took what they call bombox. He took bombox alongside. Now, Mr. Liu, I think within the UPC, I don't see any of the three candidates passing.
Okay.
Yes, because we have Professor Baebek, we have Abdulrahman, and another candidate. I don't see any person amongst the three of them going through the cross line. Now you have the MPNC, where it used to be the party of Paul Eric Kinge, may so rest in peace, of Njombe Penja. Now you have a brother from Donga Mantun, Gestel Shewa, who is there, and another guy who are in this party. Now, I think that within this political party, Mr. Leo, it only takes the Frenchman say le responsable du party. It is only those who have the party in their hand who can actually, because at the end of the day, all these people go to the Constitutional Council to prove. So someone who has a bid within that party will be the one to prove. You come down to party Manidem, which is the talk of every leap out there. Manidem has two people. There is Maurice Kamto, who has been endorsed by Aniset Ekani, and there is now a president of the same party, Yebga, who comes up. Now, Mr. Liu, there is a small, or that there is a problem. There's a problem because this is a party that has been having successfully different presidents. This or rather the party has had Banda Kani as a president. That same party later on had Anise Ekani. Later on, they brought in Dieudonné Yebga, and from what I gathered, it shows that the party wasn't satisfied with how Dieudonné Yebga was delivering, and that same party brought in Aniset Ekani. When you look now within the same party, Mr. Liu, there are dissenting voices within the party that are saying that Aniset Ekani took a single-handed decision, and that the party did not meet in a conclave to decide that, okay, we are putting Kamto. I think that still at the level of that political party, it will be difficult to determine the outcome, because I've seen two documents. I saw a document signed by Minat in 2018 that recognizes Aniset Ekani as the president of Manidem, and I saw another document signed in 2022, precisely on the 17th of July 2022, recognizing Dieudonné Yebga as the national president. This is a
and there is another document from the guys, the bigwigs of the party, who say they were not
informed. They were not informed.
Of course, if they are not, then it cannot go through.
Then it cannot go through. So we without bad faith, I don't want to say that Maurice Kamto will not, because it will be judged at the level of.
It is ELECAM and the Constitutional.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's what I'm saying. I cannot say so. I cannot say so, Mr. Leo. That's why I'm saying that. This is another file that will be taken. The electoral board is going to deliberate, and if the electoral board cannot arrive at a conclusion, of course the Constitutional Council is going to take place. But now, Mr. Leo, having said all this, it mirrors to the kind of politics we practice in Cameroon. If a party that does not have, say, 500 followers cannot agree that, okay, Leonard, you are, that's a problem. Well, is it this same, all these opposition political parties that will agree and form a single party? Because, Mr. Leo, whether we like it or not, whether we blow grammar from today to tomorrow, if the opposition in Cameroon does not form one, they will not beat this system. Why? Because when I say it here, people say, oh, he's speaking from the other side of them. No. When you have a system, a political party that is represented in all the 360 subdivisions, Manidem is a Douala-based party. I doubt if someone in the West region, if someone in the West region knows that party, is because maybe they have heard of Kamto. Many persons were not even thinking that if Kamto were to settle for a political party, it would be Manidem. It took most people by shock. How many people know Manidem in Bamenda? How many people know the MPCN in Eboloa? How many people, of course, may know Univer in Kambe? That is where the ball game is. Okay. But now when the people come together as one, Mr. Leo, it will now take us back to what we had in 1992, where Ni John Fundi was a flag bearer of Union for Change. And the Union for Change had one opponent called Paul Biya, the CPDM. So the people had two things. You either vote for the Union of Change or you vote for Ni John Fundi. But today we have 81 political parties. Everybody wants to be president in Cameroon. Everybody wants
to be president in Cameroon. Greetings, Mr. Leo. Interesting topic indeed. Tornado Breeze is watching from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Tornado. Good evening. My name is Ndefi Samuel, watching your nice program from Kumba. Let all opposition parties join to win against the CPDM. This one says Mbele Emmanuel from Chang. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and the panel. Is now proven beyond all doubts that the race for today is becoming a comedy, and it's so regrettable that the electoral body and ELECAM are all interested but in the 30 million cash. I will also deposit mine by tomorrow, even without a party, because I know that's what many has done. At this point in time, no one cares whether the people vote him or not, meaning there is a hidden interest which only those who mount courage and join the race will benefit. I will not be left out. Good evening to you, my dear brother. Writing there from Chang. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and all the panelists. Ambo Golof, watching from Bomenda. Good evening. I'm watching from St. Michael's Hospital, Bamenda and Kwen. Good evening to all of you watching us from the Banter Baptist Hospital. Greetings, Mr. Leo, and members of the panel. To be candid, most of the so-called aspiring presidential candidates have 80% of their interest on egoism rather than altruism. Until this narrative are changed, Cameroon will keep facing shambles of bad government. Ashukem Armstrong is writing from Boya. Hi, it's very interesting program, Mr. Leo. The panelists should appreciate the 82 candidates they have tired of the CPDM regime, and now is the time for a new change. Ikango Elvis writing from Gabon. Now, you say you are not going for elections because you could not fulfill the requirement of 300 signatures from all 10 regions. You could not also raise 30 million francs CFA, amongst other things. What next for you?
Of course, what is very sure is that we just started. It's a journey which we just started. I'm just 36 years old, and there's a lot ahead of me. You know, before engaging into politics, I am a humanitarian, a philanthropist, a Christian who carries a lot of social activities in our society. As a medical doctor, I've organized so many health campaigns around our different localities and provided free health care for so many Cameroonian citizens. And that is what even pushed me to study law and become a lawyer, so that I can also defend the rights of my fellow Cameroonian citizens. And today I assist widows and women who are actually victims of domestic violence. And those are the things that motivated me to seek for the office of president, because I strongly believe that as a president, I'll be able to put an end to healthcare issues by making healthcare free. I'll be able to put in place an independent judicial organ that is going to provide justice for Cameroonian citizens. So due to the fact that those are the things that motivated me, and that my life is all about service to the Cameroonian people, that therefore means that I have to keep fighting on the political scene to achieve my objective, which is to make each and every Cameroonian happy and fulfilled. So that said, this is not the first time I'm failing. I would like to say that I failed the QS exams in 2006 in the month of September, and when I had the results, the next day I started reading, preparing for the next entrance exams that was supposed to come the next year. So I started preparing, and fortunately enough, 3 months after the launch, the medical schools in Boya and Douala, and I passed because I was already ready, I was already prepared. So I'll just behave in like manner, because failures are things that will always happen, and we need to have an attitude towards failure. We should not consider failure as something that should destroy us, or to weaken us, or to make us go down, or shadow ourselves somewhere, hide ourselves somewhere. But failure should be something to encourage us, that we need to work harder, we need to work better. So my message is simple. It doesn't stop here. I am on the political scene. I'll keep behaving like my candidacy was taken, keep doing all the activities which I plan to do. I plan to go to Bamenda, meet farmers. I plan to meet Bayam Selams. I'll keep on doing those things.
Are you not also distracting the people from the focus? Because we have candidates who are going to be qualified for these presidential elections, and you are doing what you are doing. Are you not also helping to distract them from the focus?
I'll help them step their game. Because we are in a society where there is competition. As a very young man, I came from nowhere and I got the popularity. And if you had noticed on social media, the fact that I was present made other politicians to step up. They started going on TikTok, they started coming on Facebook. Their presence was increasing in one way or the other, because they realized that somebody from nowhere is using social media and is getting popular. It's the same thing. I will not stop my trip to Bamenda because my candidacy was rejected. Then that means that I don't know what I'm doing. I will not stop the help campaign I was planning to organize somewhere in Yanong to help women because my candidacy was rejected.
So when you go to Bamenda, what are you telling the people?
Well,
that they should wait for you.
My trip in Bamenda was to discuss with certain key actors. For example, I've got friends who have farms. And the goal was to meet them, young people, discuss with them, know how we could develop the agricultural sector. Because I think that that's what leadership is all about, being close to the people. Discuss with them, and they will give you ideas. And those very simple things, that's what you go and implement. Things that our politicians lack today. They just go around, they want to work with thousands of people, showing public manifestations that they are doing something, which is not important for me.
Yeah, if you see all my democracy is also a game of numbers,
yeah, but that is not what is important. If you see all my movements, all the places I've visited, you rarely see me with a crowd. I go to specific people, I go to headsmen, I discuss with them what's the problem, how can we do to develop this sector. They give me their ideas, and that's what I incorporate in my policies. And that's what is most important. Those are the things that...
Millions of people make you president. How do you convert what you are doing to gain the crowd that is required to make you president?
Of course, there's social media. There's social media, and that's the strength of social media. That's the strength of media.
Yeah, but because social media could also be very misleading.
No, it's not. That if you're truthful, it's not misleading. For example, I did not go and drop my candidacy. I was truthful to myself.
I don't have the requirement. I don't go and drop.
Let's take the case of Celestin Germain. He's on social media every day.
Yeah.
But do you really think the mothers in Marwa know him because he's on social media? That is where the critical mass for this election is.
That's why you must make the blend. It's not just focalizing on social media. You have to know how to use social media. So the goal of social media is that you carry out an activity and you amplify it through social media. Because all those who go on the field, they cannot have more than 200 people. For those going now, they cannot have more than 200, 300 people. But on social media, when I make a post, I have about maybe 500 likes. Then the number of people that are viewed can be about 100,000. Yeah. So that's how the news spreads. Then you use the media to encourage those who have that information to share it to others.
Okay.
So
I just hope that the 100,000 persons who watch are active also in politics, because most of those guys, I know 2 politicians who depended on this in Cameroon, but when they went on ground, they discovered that majority of those who are on social media have nothing to do with real life politicking. Greetings, Mr. Leo. Alain Bello, watching from Nyasoso. Good evening to you. Yes, because on social media we have these young children who can talk.
No, you just have to know how to use it. For me, it's about knowing how to use it.
Okay.
You see, when you understand there's a particular group of people that you reach through social media, and they are the majority. We have about 10 million users. So it's not a negligible number. So through them now, you can get to know other people. People will tell you, I'm here, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for you at this area, and you go towards them and you people work together. So preparing for the next presidential elections, preparing for the next municipal legislative elections, because I won't make the error of my predecessors. This is the error Kamto made, because the next day he did not continue in the light of working for the next election. The same error Frunzi made. I think it's good to call names so that we should know that as a young generation, we have that obligation not to repeat the errors of our senior politicians.
These words are going to be used against you in the next 5 years.
There is no problem. There's no problem. There's no problem. And that's why today I've decided that even though I was not able to drop my documents yesterday, I will keep fighting. I will keep telling Cameroonians that we have that obligation, especially the youths, to keep fighting. Because my document was being my procedure was being shattered because the system was against me, and I will not stop fighting.
The system is more fierce against Cabral Libi.
That is what you think.
No,
that is what you think.
You must
understand that.
No, we have persons.
You must understand that
they are going through.
No, you must understand that.
Do you really think?
You must understand that in every election.
Do you really think you are the key threat to President Paul?
I must not be a key threat. You cannot know who can be the key threat.
So what is the interest?
So that nobody should be neglected.
What is the interest?
Let me tell you something. In our elections at the Cameroon Medical Council, that's a very minimal stuff. Everybody underestimated my strength as a lawyer, even though being in the Cameroon Medical Council, and I was the campaign manager of the actual president of the Cameroon Medical Council. Everybody underestimated me till when he won. So that just goes to say that you shouldn't underestimate anybody in life. I think it's a natural principle, and they who have seen that as an experience are saying that no, let us not give this child a chance because I have everything. I'm the only Cameroonian who is a medical doctor and lawyer. I'm the only Cameroonian who has resigned from public service and told the Minister of Finance to stop sending a salary. I'm the only Cameroonian who is conducting certain activities, working hard at my age.
Yeah.
So it's quite encouraging. Not to be proud about it, but I'm trying to say that there's a goal and the role I'm
Why
playing.
do you want? Why maybe so many young persons were not also happy with you because you said you were going to stop beer?
No, I don't. Of course, they were not happy, but for me, that was not a problem. I know many people today they believe that it's because of beer that my candidacy was not dropped. No, it has nothing to do with that. I've met so many Cameroonians, be it in Yaoundé, Douala, drinking beer, and we make jokes and we laugh. So that was not a problem.
Do you drink beer?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't drink beer. But from what we see, the candidacy and the rest, some people even talk about the caution. The caution was not a problem. It was not really a problem. It's just that it's more of the documents which were
the signatures.
Provided. Yes, exactly.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. For me, the number of registered candidates that have filed via ELECAM is too small. I was expecting to hear not less than 200 plus minus independent candidates going in because the country has more than 350 political parties. Why are we complaining when the country has open room to create political parties, more candidates, take bends, okay? Yes, we have above 350 political parties, so why are we complaining? Good evening, Mr. Liu and Miss Baye, watching from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Mrs. Baye. Good evening, Acha Mutambeli, watching live from Last Pole Ngomgam. Okay, I thought it was a name. Last Pole, you meant Last Pole in Ngomgam. Good evening, Mr. Liu. This is Ngala Edwin from Yaoundé. Please ask the young man if he still intends to stop here by 2032. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please, what is happening to senior barrister Ashu Emmanuel? Is he still in the presidential race? His name is not in the list that was published by ELECAM last night, so he's not running. This should be the 10th person asking this question on tonight's edition of the program. So many of you are asking about our senior barrister Ashu Emmanuel of the Reform Party. If you go through the list that was published by ELECAM, his name does not feature. This one says it is more of political show. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Minang Emmanuel, I'm sure it's a political show. Okay, I'm writing from Sabga. Good evening to you. This one says good evening, Mr. Leo. Nice program indeed tonight. I just wish to ask if there is some money the government gave to retain candidates for campaigns that is higher than 30 million, because some of the candidates may be thinking business, not elections. Eba Gerard is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Gerard. Mr. Leo, good evening. It's not a coalition. I'd rather destroy my voter's card than waste my time voting for another empty promise that will never become reality. Paul is writing from Yaoundé. Now, Doctor, many persons, I myself, I just saw them yesterday wanting to run for the top job of the presidency in Cameroon. Now, many persons also who have political parties have never won a council, which means that they don't have a municipal councillor, they have never won anything, but somehow miraculously, they think that they can become president of the republic. Where do they expect these voters to come from to vote them?
This is actually the question that we're asking, and that's what I said. Some political parties are not even informed about politicking. Yes, and usually I distinguish between political science and politics. Yeah, many people do not know exactly where they have to start their political careers. Because according to me, politics is about the grassroots. You will not go stand politics from top, bottom. Politics starts from bottom, top. So when you think that your ambition is just to be the president of the republic, to govern who? Because tomorrow, even if you become the president of the republic without parliamentarians, you may have some hardships and speed breaks in selling across your ideology and your ideas in a republic. This is what many people do not know. Being a president is one thing, and actually playing your role as a president of the republic is another thing. The assembly, the National Assembly, is that which calls the shots. So people who think that they should not go back to their grassroots and play their politics, come up progressively, build the base, have the necessary support. Of course, that comes from having councillors, having councils, becoming parliamentarians who are going to support you. I think that they have lost touch of what is supposed to be. And therefore, when you look at this, I already said there are some people who are coming for a kind of a show. Yes, they just want their names to be pronounced. And don't be surprised tomorrow. Politicians who are on the list tomorrow, they will have many concerts around, because at least they were publicized. There was publicity about them that they ran for the presidential elections, or that they deposited their candidacies. So this is one of the things that people are going for various, submitting their candidacies for various reasons and for various aspirations, not even the issue of taking over power. Because what I expect to see is next year, 2026, when we have local elections. This is, I will love even all the 300 and something parties to get into the election, because that is the elections of the base. That is from where you have to start. that in a political election like the presidency, and we have 80 something, it means that if you go averagely, we have 8 parties per region. This doesn't make sense. At the point where we are calling for a coalition, you would rather have 8 parties per region. And when Prince Joel was talking about the internal wranglings from the parties, and then I asked myself, a question came to my mind. If a party cannot agree internally, then, within themselves, you expect that party to go and agree with a different party to form a coalition? Because if within a party, there's already disagreement, a party having 3 candidates, a party having 2 candidates, do you expect that party to agree and form a coalition with another party that has perhaps a different ideology? These are some of the things that we expect to do. But what I want to call now, and I'm even including Mr. Asong here, what I'm calling now is that at this point, this is a time for endorsement. This is the time for endorsement and not the time to say that, okay, since I'm not running, I continue what I've been doing. This is a time, at least, you must have gone through the ideologies and the manifestos of other parties, and there are at least some people that you align with. I saw Ambe do that. He said the SDF, actually takes on what I was actually working on, and that it is just fair for me, since I'm not running, for me to throw my weight behind the SDF. Anyway, I know I met Mr. Asong one time, and he said, "This is, if he tries and it doesn't work, he's stopping." Are you still on that? Remember, you told me that this God has sent you. Don't talk like Trump. Trump said he left. He ruled one mandate and then he left the other mandate so he can still go for the 3rd time. So, but I think that this is important, and that the issue of political parties, they themselves actually informing themselves of their political route is very important. That people should not think that it is just at the top, it is just the presidency that I want to be before you create an impact. We want to see these parties, actually, they have already made themselves known that after October, they get into the grassroots, because we are now coming into the local elections in 2026. And that if they just came, because some people say that this is just they just want to gain, to gain credibility for 2026. And of course, we have had a lot of people who have gained credibility for presidential election. Kabari, one of those people who have gained, because in 2018 he went for presidential election and he did so well. And that is why during the 2020 legislative election he excelled, and I think he has about 5 parliamentarians, the president, which is very important. That if people want to gain credibility for 2026, it is fine. And then in 2026, when we are talking about these figures, people already know that they saw them in 2025, which is good. But then you think that it is only the presidential election, you don't want to rule small people, only want to rule the whole country. This is where the problem is. This now goes into the light of egoism, selfishness, and all of those. And because you know that you cannot make it. We have had even parties which are hardliners, like the old parties like the SDF, the UNDP, the UDC, all, which are up to date, are not even really well implanted in all the regions in Cameroon. And that is where they are having some issues. And now you come today, nobody even knows you. I don't even think that all your family members even know you. And then you think that you will ascend that high office of the presidency. I think that we also need to educate some of these people. At the end of the scrutiny, we need to bring them together, and then we'll call some experts to come and talk to them and educate them on politics. Because I show that most people lack the knowledge of politics. They want to play political science, and they forget that politics is not only about political science. Politics is about the grassroots. Politics is about mastering what the people want. Politics is about projecting. Politics is about ideologies. It's not about theology. This is it. And that when you follow an ideology, you project in future. Those who want to go in for 2022 and 32 are already preparing now. And I think that this is what actually most politicians should be doing. And that is not just about 2025, it's about preparing for 2032. That is how politicians do. And that is what ideology is all about. That ideology is sustainable. Ideology is in 50 years. Ideology is in 100 years. That what you do now, that in 100 years, this is when you are going to achieve. If maybe Britain knew that in signing the honor, to rule Hong Kong for 100 years or just small years, they would have even gone for 500 years. But 100 years came and passed, and then Hong Kong went independent. Was given back. So I think that it is very important that we think about sustainability, and this goes down in every sphere in Africa. What we do is that we are too myopic. is that people think about things just the next day. People think about things that will happen in the next year. People do not think about projects and see the future from very far. People want to plant things that they will eat in their lifetime. Politics is about planting a pear tree, and you know that you are not going to harvest that pear immediately. Other people will harvest it. Look at DRC. Who is there? KD. The father, if you know how the father worked for Chesigedi to benefit today. Chesigedi came as a president when the father has died. But the father worked so hard over the years, and he didn't near even the presidency. But because he had planted and planted and planted, and he didn't give up, the son came up. It has happened like in many other countries. And therefore, that is how politics in Cameroon is supposed to be played. That somebody shouldn't just think that it is me. And if it is not me, it's nobody. And it goes back to even the individual political parties. You have people who own parties who say this party is mine. And that is even where the problem is coming from. Why many people are putting candidacies? Because you find somebody who is legitimate. We have even had in the UDC where Sam Bakar resigned. Where Sam Bakar was the vice president of UDC when Adamu Damzoya was there. Immediately Adamu Damzoya died and he was supposed to take power, the wife took over the party. And now Sam Bakar said, you are now going against the constitution. Why should people twist things? And you say this party is mine. A party is supposed to be a moral organization whereby it is not owned by a particular person. A party is formed. I think that even the law of association says that you don't form an association alone, because parties fall under the association. And therefore, when you form a party, it is an association that you form. The issue of you being there is just as a leader. And therefore, when you as a leader, you don't call the shot. It is a group of people. And that's why tomorrow, as Prince Joe was saying, when ELECAM will be judging, they will see, did they have a committee meeting to sit and actually endorse this person as the presidential candidate? If there was a committee of the party, according to the status, that sat and endorsed this person, then those side people who are coming and actually disturbing it's a non-event.
Okay, it is a non-event. Good evening, sir. Mr. Njabe from Douala. 82 candidates at ELECAM is not genuine candidates, rather a political show. Most of these candidates are in for their personal benefits, not for us, the citizens. What I have in mind before registering was for the opposition parties to make a coalition. These opposition parties don't really know what the people want. Candidates who don't have love, unity for themselves can love and unite the people. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I'm Mr. Njinu Peter watching from Edinao. All I want is peace in Cameroon. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I wish to ask what happened with senior barrister Emmanuel. Please ask Dr. Asson who he is supporting now that he isn't amongst those running. Jabel is writing from Krebi. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I want to say that this election is a joke. There is no seriousness. How can we have 82 candidates? It's giving a bad image about the country. Pastor Emmanuel is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to everyone in the house on the Prime Air platform. This is Mr. Mekanya Iswa watching from Kribi. Sincerely speaking, I have not really seen an aspiring candidate on this race with a viable program and plan, including Mr. Asson. I think the people's interests, Cameroonians, are not taken into consideration. Everyone is interested in their personal ego, especially with the recent defection of Mr. Kamto. We are disappointed. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Luis from Boya. Most of the so-called presidential candidates are doing but politics, not politics, okay? Good evening, Mr. Liu, and greetings to the panelists. The 82 candidates do not prove genuine to me, but just a political show, as you rightly put it. Though we must vote for someone, I weep why this opposition can't come together. Out of 100% of voters, if CBDM has 10% and the rest of 81 oppositions have 80%, then we are just wasting time trying to defeat Mr. Bia, okay? Desmond is writing from Gaundure. Good evening, sir. Watching live from Bankim. The presidential candidates are terrible. Some are too old, more than Paul Biya. I wonder if those candidates poorly dressed with those funny shoes can change this country. They think it's a comedy show. Yvonne Berlin is writing from Bankim. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and my humble greetings to your panelists. Please, Mr. Liu, permit me to ask our father this question. How can we be talking of reconstruction that the war is still going on and the destruction is still going on? As for road, I appreciate the stakeholders that are involved, especially Mark Sal on Cambe Kumbo Stretch. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu and B. Lovelin, watching from Garwa. I love this program. The young man is quite interesting. The program is interesting. Please ask Dr. Asson who is going to vote, given that didn't deposit his candidacy. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Chemboni, writing from Bomenda. Please ask Dr. Asson that who does he now want that his followers should vote for now that he has backed out? Is this not frustrating and confusing his followers? Good evening, panelists. Contrary to the Prince's opinion, the presidential race has nothing to do with the popularity of the party. Okay. Jude is writing from Kam Yabasi in Douala. Can you just answer those? So many have come.
I think there was one question that kept on repeating itself. Is who am I going to support? Concerning who I'm going to support, I think that that's a decision that is first of all personal, and we all know that the vote is sacred. I think that for each and everyone to express his or her voters' right, you must know that the vote is sacred and it's for the people to choose. I am not that type of politician who does politics to tell people what to do. I do my best to convince them with my own actions, and that's the type of politics that I've been doing. For now, with all those who are following me, we are engaging on continuing on what we have already planned to do. Today, I kept on receiving money from people who knew that I'd already backed out, but yet they said that no, the future is bright. We have to keep on working and keep on preparing for the legislative and municipal elections. That is our focus for now. And when campaign will start, which is 2 weeks before the elections, we shall take certainly a decision and know what to do.
Okay. Yes, the people keep asking for a coalition. Prince.
Mr. Leo, the truth is, when you look at the political atmosphere in Cameroon, if the political parties we have, even my good friend and brother, Dr. Asson, if he were to deposit, I would have told him one-on-one, form a coalition. It is true, maybe you would not have accepted, or you could accept. But when you look at what is ongoing, I'm happy for what I'm seeing online. I saw someone like Honorable Joshua was here, I think, yesterday, with Bello Buba Maigari.
No, Issa Chiroma.
Issa Chiroma, thank you, Issa Chiroma. And we've seen him with other opposition political parties. Mr. Liu, the truth is, whether we want it or not, the first thing is, in every system, it is difficult to beat the incumbent. Cameroon is not an exception. Even in our own small Njangi houses, once someone is already a president, it is difficult to vote that president out of office. Why? Because once you're already the incumbent, you must have amassed enough wealth that can permit you to run and wet other lips for them to reinstall you. 2, it will be difficult for you to be voted out of office because you have created the necessary connections. Now, when you look at these political parties in Cameroon, if they do not form a coalition, how do you beat someone who has been in power for 43 years? It is very true. People will say that, okay, Cameroonians want change. Yes, they want change. But now, if the opposition political parties all come together as one, it will be easier. Easier, why? Because someone who is in Way, that is in Menchum, someone who is in Chonge, that is in Misaje subdivision, is talking an opposition, not a political party. Knows that he is going to vote his destiny. Either he gives it to the CPDM and probably continues for another additional 7 years, or he votes an opposition political party. But now when you look at our system, it will be difficult. If not, I would say that it will be an impossibility. In 2018, something like this filtered, where we felt that the opposition political parties were supposed to come as one. But what came out? What came out was that another political party felt that it was too popular, while another political party felt that they are too old and that they master the terrain more than the other. And if our opposition political parties, Mr. Leo, do not come as one, I am looking forward to 2032, where we'll still be talking the same story, because we have not learned our lessons. Go to Senegal and see what happened. Sonko was playing the game, but someone is there. But in Cameroon, it doesn't exist. I think that if there is one politician I should applaud for, it should be Chairman John Fundi, may so rest in peace. He is still alive, but thinks that he's tired. Gives the power to a young man called Honorable Joshua Osi. He says, I am tired. The bones are weak. I don't longer have that power of 1992, who I used to say, Hil Jibe. I don't have that strength again. But in Cameroon, even if it's for 100 years, Paul Biya has been there since 1982. Who has he given to? Nijon is just 1992, 1990. Yeah, he gave to another person. So I think that we should be able to applaud when it is good. But when you look at the other political parties, Mr. Liu, we only discovered, for instance, the CRM political party, that the president of that party had resigned when his name came up on Manidem, and articles started coming, that Article 3 sub 2 of the Penal Code of December 1990 says that you cannot belong to two political parties. That is when we started seeing that he resigned on the 15th of July and joined Manidem on the 17th. Cameroonians are too intelligent to be manipulated. Go to the road, like I said, Mr. Leo, meet even someone in a Shah house, meet someone even in a Mbu house. These people are too educated. When you think you can be playing with them, first, when you come and tell people that this party must go for elections, at the end, the people don't even see you going. Later on, you now come and say you had this. Cameroonians are becoming too knowledgeable. Let these opposition political parties do Cameroonians a favor, Mr. Liu. Once ELECAM will publish a list, those who have complaints take to the Constitutional Council, and once we have the final list, I expect, Mr. Liu, to see what happened in 1992, where Cameroonians either had to vote for Union of Change under Ni John Funde or to choose President Paul Biya. If we do not assemble as one man, we'll be looking at a situation where the PCRN has votes in the Sanaga Maritime because they have their border Cabral Libi with Sebasa. We'll be looking for a situation where Maurice Kamto has votes in the West region because the family case are thinking is his brother. We'll be looking for a situation where Honorable Joshua Osi will have some votes in the Northwest and the Southwest, and even in the littoral. Why? Because in the Northwest and the Southwest, the people look at the Social Democratic Front as an English party. We'll be looking at a situation where President Paul Biya calls the shots in the South, just like he went to the South and the people told him, we don't know you. And then now, we'll be looking at a situation where when you go to Nkambe, it is Honorable Ngala Gerard who is campaigning for Paul Biya, not Paul Biya himself. When you go to Boya, have Honorable Malomba, who is recently just said that the youth have pledged 100% for President Paul Biya. When you go to the West region, you'll be having the Celestine Kecha Cotes, Emmanuel Ganunjo Messis, the Jean Quites, the Madeleine Chuetes, who are vying for Paul Biya. There's no Paul Biya goes there. That's what people don't understand. It is not Paul Biya goes to these areas. Because when people sit in their houses and keep saying that Paul Biya rigged election, Paul Biya stole election, the reality is there. The reality is that Cameroonians are so confused. Now they have 82 candidates.
Okay, we have.
But they'll be screened out now.
They'll be screened out, even in the screen, and they are remaining with 9.
Yeah.
Or
So
even 7. At the end of the day,
you're not only going against President Paul Biya, you're going against the ministers.
The directors in companies, the powerful elites of the land. It is the elites who come and say, if you don't vote for me, this is a road. For instance, who can Kambe? Kambe is enjoying a tar road nowadays, Mr. Liu. Now, the mayor from Kambe, Sheikh Musa, simply needs to tell the people in Kambe in the dialect that this road you're seeing is thanks to. He is not telling the people that the World Bank contributed and this is not. He's telling the people vote for CPDF.
We are going to end at this juncture, and once again, I'm going to announce this. My birthday comes up in 2 days' time. On the 25th of July, I'm going to be celebrating my birthday. Like I said yesterday, I usually do many things for my followers and people I love. I organize certain things, but this time around,
some other time we went to Susa too.
Yeah, we've been to Susa. Yes. Last year I organized a workshop for my followers who came from Douala, from Yaoundé, Bamenda, and across Cameroon. We had a great day where we exchanged. But this year I wrote this book last year, Something More Than Justice, The Path to Lasting Peace. As a peace journalist and activist, I want to continue preaching peace. So I want those of you who are watching and who believe in what I have been doing in my peace project to offer me a gift by purchasing at least a book or 2 or 3, so that I will gather all of them and give them out to some students out there. That is what I intend to do this year. I want you guys to buy these books so that I can give them out to people as my way of celebrating my birthday. So if you are watching me, please write to me or using the number on your screen. Write to me so that you can get copies of these books. I am going to acknowledge anybody who is participating in this project. I'm going to do that. And God bless you as you join me in this project. Thank you for coming, Prince.
It's always been a pleasure, Mr. Liu. This is something more than justice. I've had the opportunity to read the book severally, and I'm calling on all those who are watching to buy the book, because you are someone that once you say your things, you always do them, Mr. Liu. Let you get you and get copies, because the book talks about how we can resolve. Every day we have conflicts, because, Mr. Liu, it's a book that does not only talk about conflicts in the Northwest and the Southwest, but even within our own families, we have conflicts. Even in our workplaces, we have conflicts. That said, Mr. Liu, I want to appreciate all my brothers in Mr. J subdivision who took time to watch this program. Tato Wilson, who works with the Mr. J community radio, was watching the program. Thank you, brother. And of course, to all of you who took time to watch it, Mr. J, very soon they're going to publish the list for those who have been retained by elections governing body, ELECAM. It will be time for us to choose, and when you're choosing, my dear brothers and sisters, choose wisely. Of course, you already know where I'm standing. The 12th of October, we're going to be in Mr. J to cast our votes for this nation, Cameroon. Thank you immensely, Mr. Liu, for having me.
Okay, thank you too for coming, Doctor.
Mr. Leo, thank you very much for inviting me on your program. I would just like to encourage each and every Cameroonian, and most particularly my sympathizers, that they don't have to relent, they don't have to give up. I think that the future is bright for us. We actually had a very good start, even though we're not able to drop our file. That was certainly due to the fact that the system was completely against the youth, as it has always been. And it becomes a little bit difficult when we see other political parties endorsing people of 80 years, 85 and the 70s. We really feel bad, because if these political parties knew that the youths of today represent the hope of tomorrow and the future of tomorrow, then they would have done their best to look for a youth. But we still find ourselves in a situation where gerontocracy is still what is practiced on our political scene, because you realize that most political candidates who are eligible are above the age of 70, and those are things we cannot accept and we shall not accept. So I'm just encouraging all my sympathizers and youth that we are not giving up. We'll keep on fighting, we'll keep on acting on the political scene, we'll keep engaging, building capacities in every sector, and that certainly the change that we desire as a young generation, we shall actually get that change. If our parents did not give up, then certainly we would have not been suffering today. So we are not going to give up like our parents did. We shall keep fighting, and I strongly believe that we shall make it. Certainly change will come. It will come sooner than we think.
Okay, thank you for coming, Doctor.
Thanks so much, Mr. Kum, and I will stay actually true to my mission as a civil society activist. You remember, I educated on consultation with the political parties. I took time to write a letter to the electorate, to you, the citizens, to educate on the rights, your rights and responsibility. I want to promise again that as soon as the final list is published by ELECAM, I'm going to profile all the retained political contestants, and I'm going to profile them, bring them to you with their manifestos together, and to be able to guide you. You remember, my role as civil society is not to tell anyone who to vote, but it's to educate and let you know exactly the consequences of your decision that you take. But you must know which decision you are taking, and then you know the consequences of a decision in order to choose wisely.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So many persons have written asking how much a copy costs. A copy is just 5,000 francs. Just do it as your birthday gift to Mr. Liu. You have been watching me for years now. The only way you can give me the only way you can give me a birthday gift is by buying this book. This book is not for me. I'm going to give them out to students,
Buy as
our
many
children.
copies as possible.
Yes, get as many copies as possible. Thank you all for watching. It's 5,000, please. And stay blessed. Bye bye.